Ever felt something you couldn't explain? A cold whisper in the dead of night, a silent, suffocating weight in a crowded room, a feeling that you are playing a part in a play you never auditioned for. You follow the script, you say the lines, you move where you're told. You call it responsibility, you call it maturity, you call it life. But deep within the hollows of your soul, a different voice screams. It asks a terrifying question. Is this all there is? To be a ghost in your own existence? To be a cog in a machine whose purpose you will never know? You've been told that fear is a weakness to be overcome, that humility is a virtue, that to be good is to be quiet, to be agreeable, to fit in. But what if that is the most profound lie ever told? What if your fear is not a weakness, but a compass pointing directly to the chains wrapped around your spirit? And what if the men who forged those chains, the architects of your quiet cage, have given you the key and called it sin? Tonight, we don't just look at fear. We stare into the abyss of its origin. We journey into the dark heart of power, guided by a man who dared to declare God dead, and in doing so forced humanity to confront the terrifying emptiness and the absolute freedom that discovery implies. This is not a lesson in comfort. It is an autopsy of the soul, and it begins now. Friedrich Nietzsche, the name itself conjures images of madness and fury, a philosopher who wrote with a hammer, seeking not to build systems, but to shatter the idols of a decaying world. He wasn't interested in giving you answers to make you sleep better at night. He was interested in posing questions that would burn away the comforting delusions you call your life. He said, "That which does not kill us makes us stronger," a phrase now printed on coffee mugs and gym posters, stripped of its venom, its blood, its truth. Nietzsche wasn't talking about surviving a tough week at the office. He was talking about the profound, soul-altering alchemy of suffering. He was saying that true power is not the absence of pain, but the use of it, the capacity to stare into the void of your own agony and forge it into a weapon, a tool, a crown. His vision of the world is a battlefield, not of nations, but of wills. A constant, relentless, primal struggle he called the will to power. This isn't merely the desire to dominate others, that is a child's interpretation. The will to power is the fundamental drive of all life to expand, to grow, to overcome obstacles, to reach its highest possible expression of strength. It is the tree root shattering the pavement. It is the artist starving in an attic, pouring his lifeblood onto a canvas. It is the silent internal war you fight every single day against the forces that seek to diminish you, to make you smaller, tamer, more manageable. Nietzsche saw humanity divided, not between rich and poor, but between masters and slaves. Not in a literal sense, but a spiritual one. The master creates his own values. His good is that which affirms his power, his strength, his joy, his ambition. His bad is that which is weak, pitiful, and contemptible. The slave, on the other hand, cannot create. He can only react. He is told what is good and what is evil, and who tells him? The masters. No, that is the genius of the trap. The slaves tell each other. Where does this deep, gnawing fear come from? This anxiety that hums beneath the surface of your every waking moment? It wasn't born with you. It was installed. It was programmed into your very cells by a system designed for one purpose: control. Nietzsche called this system slave morality. Think of your childhood. You were taught to share, to be polite, to put others first. You were taught that pride was a sin and humility a virtue. You were taught to feel pity for the weak and to fear the judgment of the strong. These sound like the foundations of a decent society, don't they? But look closer. Look with Nietzsche's eyes. What is this goodness you were taught? It is the glorification of everything that prevents a person from rising. It is the morality of the herd. The herd fears the wolf. It fears the eagle. It fears anything that stands alone, that is powerful, that is different. And so the herd creates a system of values that neuters the strong. It rebrands the wolf's strength as evil, its independence as arrogance, its ambition as greed. And it rebrands its own fear as morality, its own weakness as goodness, its own inability to retaliate as forgiveness. This is the root of your pain. You were born an eagle, with the instinct to soar. But you were raised in a flock of sheep, and you were taught to be ashamed of your wings. Every time you feel the impulse to speak your truth, to pursue a wild ambition, to walk away from a life that is suffocating you, that ingrained slave morality kicks in. A voice whispers, "Who are you to want more? Be grateful for your cage. It's safe here. Don't cause trouble. Don't be selfish." That voice is the warden of your soul's prison, and the pain you feel is the eagle's wings beating against the bars. The greatest illusion that holds you captive is the belief that your cage is a sanctuary. The lie is that safety is the ultimate goal of life. This is the anesthetic of the masses, the poison they drink willingly. Society, the great herd, does not want you to be powerful. It wants you to be predictable. It wants you to be productive. It wants you to be a consumer. A powerful individual is a disruptive force. They question authority. They create new paths. They do not follow trends, they set them. They are immune to the petty shaming and guilt-tripping that keeps the rest of the herd in line. A truly free individual is the greatest threat to a system that thrives on compliance. So the system creates a phantom, an illusion. It tells you that happiness is found in comfort, in stability, in the approval of others. It sells you products to numb your anxiety, entertainment to distract you from your emptiness, and ideologies to give you a sense of belonging without the burden of individual thought. It celebrates the victim because a victim is passive. A victim needs a savior, and the system is always happy to sell you one. It teaches you to fear failure, so you never take a risk. It teaches you to fear solitude, so you never have to confront the stranger living inside you. It teaches you to fear judgment, so you conform your every thought, your every word, your every desire to the accepted norm. The grand illusion is this: you have been convinced that the chains of slave morality are a safety blanket. You have been taught to love your own imprisonment because you are terrified of what exists beyond the walls. But what you think is safety is merely a slow decay. It is the death of the spirit, one compromise at a time. And now, the truth. The raw, philosophical and terrifying truth that Nietzsche offers not as a comfort, but as a weapon. The universe does not care about your happiness. It does not care about your sense of fairness. It is a chaotic, indifferent whirlwind of creation and destruction, and at the heart of it all is the will to power. This drive is inside you. It is you. It is the very essence of your being. It is the urge that pushes you out of bed in the morning, the hunger for more than mere survival. Every time you learn a new skill, overcome a fear, create a piece of art, or even just choose your own path in the smallest of ways, you are expressing this will, the fear that you feel, the anxiety, the depression. It is not a malfunction. It is a symptom of a will to power that is being suppressed. It is psychic energy with nowhere to go. It is your inner eagle, starved and chained, screeching in its cage. The system of slave morality has taught you to interpret this signal as a personal failing. There is something wrong with me, you think. Nietzsche screams, no, there is something wrong with the cage. The truth is that your pain is a sacred guide. Your dissatisfaction is a holy rage. It is pointing you toward the walls of your prison. It is begging you to fight. The ultimate truth is that you are not meant to be happy in the way the herd defines it, docile, comfortable, and numb. You are meant to be powerful. You are meant to struggle, to overcome, to grow, and to express your unique force upon the world, to embrace your fate, no matter how harsh, and love it. Amor fati. Love your fate, for it is the raw material from which you will forge your freedom. When this truth first touches you, it does not bring peace, it brings war, a civil war within the soul. The part of you that has been conditioned to be a slave rises up in terror. It screams at the part of you that is awakening to its own power. This is the abyss Nietzsche spoke of. He who fights with monsters should be careful lest he thereby become a monster. And if you gaze long enough into an abyss, the abyss will gaze back into you. The moment you recognize the prison, you become a monster to the other prisoners. You become a monster to the part of yourself that found comfort in the familiar bars of the cage. The conflict is agonizing. One day you feel a surge of power, a clarity of purpose. You are ready to burn it all down. The next you are crippled by guilt and fear. The voices of your conditioning return with a vengeance. You are being selfish. You will end up alone. You will fail. You will be cast out. This is the true battlefield. Not in the world, but inside your own mind. It is the struggle between the fear of the unknown and the misery of the known. It is the battle between the person you were told to be and the person you know you are. This conflict is not a sign that you are on the wrong path. It is the path. This is the fire of transformation. Most people flee from this fire. They run back to the comfort of their illusions, the warmth of the herd. But the path to power requires you to stand in the flames. It requires you to let the old you, the slave you, burn away until only the unshakable, untamable core of your will remains. So how do you escape? How do you use this terrifying philosophy to break free? Nietzsche offers no easy 10-step program. That is the method of the slave. The master forges his own path. The reconstruction begins with a single, brutal act, the revaluation of all values. You must take every good and every evil you have ever been taught, place it on the anvil of your own mind, and strike it with the hammer of a single question. Does this serve my power? Does this make me stronger, more alive, more myself? Or does it make me weaker, smaller, and more subservient? Your humility, is it a genuine recognition of your place in the cosmos, or is it a fear of taking up space? Your kindness, is it a true expression of overflowing strength, or is it a desperate plea to be liked to avoid conflict? Your forgiveness, is it the magnanimous act of a superior soul, or the cowardice of one who cannot bear to hold a grudge? To reconstruct yourself is to become a creator. You must become your own God, defining your own heaven and your own hell. This requires solitude, not the loneliness of the outcast, but the deliberate, sacred solitude of the Creator. In solitude, the noise of the herd fades, and you can finally hear the whispers of your own will. This is the path of the Übermensch, the overman, not a superhuman, but a human who has overcome his own self-imposed limitations, a human who has embraced his suffering as a chisel, his solitude as a workshop, and his will as the divine spark of creation. He does not seek happiness, he seeks the power to affirm his life in its entirety, the pain, the joy, the struggle, the victory. He looks at his life, every ugly and beautiful moment, and says, yes, once more, we have journeyed through the dark corridors of fear and power. We have seen how the morality of the herd was designed to keep you small, and how your own innate will to power is the key to your liberation. You have been taught your entire life to look for answers from outside, from a god, from a state, from a guru, from society. You have been trained to be a sheep looking for a shepherd. Nietzsche's ultimate lesson is this: you are the shepherd. You are the one you have been waiting for. The power you seek is not in a book or a belief system. It is in your blood and your bones, waiting to be unleashed. The fear will never entirely disappear, but it can be transformed. It can become a servant, not a master. It can be the wind beneath your wings, not the bars of your cage. The world will not celebrate your transformation. It will resist you. It will call you a monster. It will try to pull you back into the comfortable darkness. To choose this path is to choose a life of permanent struggle, a beautiful, glorious war against everything that seeks to deaden the human spirit. So I leave you with this question, a question that will echo in the quiet moments of your life, in the depths of your doubt. You have now gazed into the abyss of your own potential. You have seen the chains, and you have been shown the hammer. The choice that stands before you is the only choice that has ever mattered. Will you live your life as a ghost, apologizing for the space you take up, or will you finally become the creator of your own world and set yourself on fire? If this video touched something inside of you, leave your like, subscribe to the channel, and share this with someone who needs to hear this today. Comment below with what thought struck you the most. We'll see you in the next video.